Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a family meal idea video for you, and I haven't actually uploaded in months now. So actually before quarantine and lockdown, all that madness and craziness that was going on, and I suppose like most people I've just been bogged down with the whole homeschooling and putting my focus and attention on the children and the family. I just spend that quality time that we don't get to do with all the busyness usually, and I haven't really felt like making those videos, but it's been great to see you tag me in and still be making a lot of the recipes that I've shared previously. So hopefully you're glad to see me back and making the videos. We are now summer holidays over here in Northern Ireland. Homeschooling's over and it's time to get back to a little bit of normality anyway. So I do have a few videos coming up this week, and these recipes have actually been things over the course of lockdown when I'm just using from store cupboards and things that I can get my hands on of course fakeaways, because you know I love a fakeaway and do feature those every week. So hopefully still get some inspiration, but going forward for the next couple of weeks you will see they're very different recipes and different ideas. So let's get in the video and see what we had as a family of 7 for dinner. So for my first meal, I'm making roast sweet potato veggie chili. So I've obviously got sweet potato, fresh coriander, 2 large onions, garlic, a yellow, red and green pepper, a few cherry tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, passata, red kidney beans and some butter beans. I'm using cumin, chili powder, paprika, cinnamon, and I won't make this too hot because we're eating it as a family, but obviously you can alter it to whatever taste you like. My kids do like a bit more paprika in it, so I've just chopped the veg, put in all the spices. We've brought it up to the level with the liquids, so water, chopped tomatoes and passata. I've added in my beans, my fresh coriander, and I like to add a little bit of brown sugar and also some tomato puree paste. Giving that a good mix through. The sweet potato is just roasted in the oven. When it's lovely and crispy, I think it brings out that sweetness. I just give it a mix through at those last few minutes, and we're having it with some basmati rice and a few tortilla chips. It is a big portion and it is very filling with all these pulses in it, and like I said, it made enough for 2 nights. So it's a great way to get all that fibre and vegetables into the kids in a nice sauce. Next night I'm using casserole vegetables which are frozen. So this is a mix of swede, turnip, leeks and some onions, and this is just a godsend during lockdown. And I've also got some flour and seasoning with my steak pieces. I've got Guinness and garlic, and I'm going to make a little bit of a casserole with a hot pot topping. So very straightforward as you would do a stew or casserole, sauteing down all the chopped vegetables with my herbs, seasoning, adding in the beef with the flour. Then I add in a bottle of Guinness. You could go for any type of beer if you want that flavour, if not very strong beef stock. I went for 3 cubes, topping up the level, and then I want to let that on for a few hours until the meat really softens. So like I said, instead of a pie I'm going to make it into a hot pot because I had potatoes available. So I've just sliced them, trying to keep them relatively similar sizes but not being too fussy, layering them so there's not too many gaps, and then topping them there with butter. This will go in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes until it comes out lovely and crispy and golden, and you'll see all that gravy has thickened up and it's just seeping through the sides there as well. So a good one, everyone can help themselves. This also does freeze quite well even though it is a potato top dish, so you can put it in the freezer. And we had them with part baked rolls, so these are vacuum sealed, and we do try and keep a lot of those in our store cupboard so that when we didn't have fresh bread we could pop those in the oven and still have bread as an option anyway. So again, we freezed some of that portion and we will maybe do it as a pie another time. So I had this big pork rib rack, and I've actually just trimmed away some of the fat from the sides, but I want to keep the fat in the middle of the rungs for lots of flavour. I've had this spare rib sauce from the Asian supermarket for a good while now, so I thought that I would give that a go. This is going to be a very quick fakeaway, which really doesn't involve very much cooking. So for the pork ribs, I'm just coating on that rib sauce, and this will go in the oven for about 3 to 4 hours on such a low temperature, and covering it in foil so it doesn't dry out. we're going to go for the chicken breast fillet strips from Iceland. These are 100% chicken breast fillet, so they're really good quality and a good option. So I've got this Chinese salt and chili pepper seasoning. I've been buying it online for a while, but apparently they do sell it in home bargains, so it's worth checking out. It's really, really good and just as authentic as your Chinese chili and pepper chicken. So we've got some oven fries for convenience as well, and very simply chopped the onions and the peppers. I've added a little bit of the dry mix. Now this is a dry mix, so you don't want to make it too moist, so probably just a tablespoon of oil at the most, and a little goes a long way, so I would say add little bits and pieces to it and taste as you go. So I coat probably about 3 tablespoons of the mix in total once I add my chicken. And then our pork ribs, I'm just letting them rest, and I will slice them up ready for when the chicken and chili pepper's ready. So the chickens come out of the oven. You could deep fry them, but I just wanted to keep it lighter. I've chopped them up, and again I'm adding them through the onions and the peppers, which are ready coated with the mix, but I will taste as I go and add a little bit more as well. So if you like it really chili, you can go to town with this mix. And as I said, we're doing like a fake away with the Chinese, but we wanted minimal effort, and this just took no time at all. So my spare ribs are on a bed of lettuce and syrup. Then we've got our chili chicken there with the pepper, salt and chili, and our skinny chips as well. So you could do it with fried rice or whatever options you want it, but definitely look out for that little mix and make sure you do it dry and not moist. So the next night I want a 15-minute dinner. We've got this Naki. Again, this is something that will stay. You usually have about 4 or 5 months expiry date on it. And the same as a jar of pesto, we've always got parmesan in the cupboard, cherry tomatoes, courgette, and whatever peppers I'd left over. So I'm just going to simply do a little Naki vegetable medley. So I've got chopped vegetables here. I'm just softening them ever so slightly because I do want a little bit of bite still in them. There's some garlic, a little bit of seasoning here, and then I've also just parboiled the Naki, made sure that I patted it all dry before popping it into the griddle pan, and I want to toast it up as well. Once it's slightly toasted, I've added in the veg, and I've also put a sprinkling of Parmesan cheese, give it a good mix round, and then I also top it with a little bit more Parmesan, and we're serving it with garlic bread. Like I said, it's super easy, great way to use up any of the leftover vegetables that you have, and a very quick 15-minute dinner. The next dinner, I'm just knocking up a really quick Caesar dressing. This is the way I like to make it. I use Worcestershire sauce, mayonnaise, Dijon whole grain mustard, lemon juice, salt, pepper, and some Parmesan cheese. I really just go with what I know we like. I've made loads of different Caesar dressings before, but this is a lovely creamy one which also keeps for ages. I'm just frying up some croutons, very little spray oil, lots of salt and pepper, and a really nice dry loaf works best. And then of course for our Caesar salad, I've got my bacon and my chicken in the oven. So I like to just do this as a deconstructed Caesar salad, that way everyone can help themselves. So a bed of the baby lettuce with some of the dressing, crispy bacon. I've roasted a couple of chicken breasts there, and then my croutons with half a loaf. And then of course Parmesan cheese for the authentic Caesar, and some skinny chips to make it more of a meal, and then the dressing on the side because the kids, some like a little bit, some don't, you can't please them all. So this way we can just all dish up what we kind of like, and like I said, that Caesar dressing is great. It will keep in the fridge for 4 to 5 days. The next dinner, I'm making a Fakeaway Wagamama's Katsu Curry. So I've got my Madras curry powder, onions, garlic, ginger, flour, sugar, turmeric, and some dark soy sauce. I've made a few of these in the past. There's definitely one on my channel I will try to link for you. I tried for years to perfect it, but this is actually Wagamama's own recipe, so I can't take credit for it. I will link it down below. So I've just simply chopped up my ginger, garlic, and my onions, and I'm putting it in with the basis of most curries, all of your dry mix. So the turmeric and the Madras powder. And obviously you don't want too much heat if you're going to feed the children this, but I've added quite a bit in alongside the flour, and we're going to cook that all off. Bear in mind that with this chopped veg, generally a katsu curry is a smooth curry, so this can be blended down or put through a sieve. So gradually you want to add your coconut milk and also your water with your stock, and do it gradually. You will see as you mix it, it will deepen in the colour depending on how much Madras powder you have. So I've let that simmer away before we get started on the chicken. Now for the chicken, I'm going to use 7 chicken fillets because all 7 of us are having it. And I've got my little conveyor belt ready there, as you will see. We've got our panko breadcrumbs. I'm going for full chicken fillets, which I'm going to make a bit more scallop, just flatten them down. And then we just moisten it down, coat it in flour, then into the egg, and then into the panko breadcrumbs. Definitely would recommend going for the panko breadcrumbs, and quite a few people say they find it difficult to find, but if you look in the usually international aisle in the supermarkets, you will find them, and they crisp the chicken up beautifully. So coating it there in the breadcrumbs, making sure to get all sections covered, because we're going to pop this into a griddle pan. And I do think you need to coat this in a griddle pan just to make sure the breadcrumbs are golden, and then I finish it off in the oven. I've got my rice there. I want to have it nice and sticky, and as you'll see here, we've sliced each of the breasts there just as you would get it in Wagamama's, and drizzled our Katsu Curry over the top. I have actually just pureed mine because I like to keep the onions in for that flavour and not to waste it, but of course you can just remove it through a sieve. So this is so delicious. The kids have been missing Katsu Curry and the cinema so much. So hopefully they enjoyed that. So next we've got some frozen peppers, garlic, onions, a few carrots I'd left over, and some hickory smoked bacon. And I'm going to make a soup. I've got oregano, some paprika, and basically nice Mediterranean minestrone soup. Uses up any veg that you have in your house. And I've made this a few times on my channel, so I'll not go into too much depth, but basically we're just adding in the water and the stock, some berlotti beans and 5-bean salad, because that is the beans that I had left in my cupboard, alongside passata and chopped tomatoes. And this just simmers away. Use up whatever leftover pasta. We have macaroni already in, and then I broke up some spaghetti as well. It's a very chunky filling soup, so I usually make a big batch, and then we can pull this out for lunches as well. So as you'll see, very filling, probably 1-2 bowls would fill most adults, sprinkled with cheese, and then we are having it with some sliced bread and some quesadillas. They're pretty plain, just pancetta and cheese as well, but one of our kids' favourite soups, and you can pack lots of vegetables in. The final dinner, very straightforward. We're having steak. I'm sauteing down some onions, cherry tomatoes. I've made a creamy peppercorn sauce, and so everyone likes their steak all done differently, so most of us are medium. And then I've made some garlic potatoes, so I've just cubed them, added some garlic butter that I had in the freezer. I'm making batches, creamy peppercorn sauce. Really just 3 of us like the onions and mushrooms. We've got some corn on the cob. For easiness, I've got croquette potatoes and onion rings, and then I've made some green beans and cherry tomatoes. And again, everyone can just help themselves to what they fancy, and it was very quick and easy, and a nice weekend one, or if you're missing your restaurant dinners as well. So that went down a treat, and I thought I would also just show you this really quick little cheap dessert. So someone actually left this for us on our doorstep. It's a galaxy treat cake. So what I did is I cubed it all up into little squares, you'll see, and then I wanted to make it just look that bit more fancy. So this is really good if you maybe have people coming over or a barbecue. So I've used up all the sponge cake into squares, making sure the pretty side is facing out. I've tightly packed it together into the bottom of a trifle dish, and then next you want to put another layer. So we're going for fruit. I've just cubed up all my strawberries there, cut them up into nice pieces, and again facing on the outside, the prettier side, and they're not too moist so they won't dry or make the sponge even soggy. And then I've added just whipped cream and a few milky stars on the top. This took all of 3 to 5 minutes, but it's just a really good way if you're short or you need a dessert or you just don't want to go to the effort and you want to make sure that it looks that little bit nicer and presented. So everyone can have their share, and yeah, like I said, super easy. So hopefully you enjoyed me back with my meals of the week. Do give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, guys.